Hi, today I am making sauerkraut, just a plain, simple sauerkraut, cabbage and salt. But I'm going to show you how I can turn it into a kimchi or something a little bit spicier, and that's what I'm going to end up packaging. So I've started with Napa cabbage. So this is Napa cabbage. You can see it does have green to the bottom. Bok choy has a thin green, a thin white stem, and then the green. This is the Napa cabbage. You can use any cabbage you want. I just tend to like this one the best when I make a sauerkraut. But I just washed it. You can see all the water running off of it. So how do we cut this? So you can pull the leaves off. You will want to pull some of the outer leaves. Make sure that you don't have any damaged leaves, any dirty leaves. Pull them off. Sometimes that will make it easy to get started because it's going to be really hard to cut through all of this. So let me move that to the side. What I like to do is just kind of roll it, do like a chiffonade, and I'm just going to thinly slice. So sauerkraut is full of probiotics. It's going to create its own bacteria. There's bacteria in here, and it's going to grow, and the bacteria that's on cabbage is wonderful for us, our intestinal system, our microbiome. And so that's why we use cabbages. And it has its own natural bacteria. Some people do add probiotics to it, which you could totally do if you know there's another strain of probiotics you would like to have. You could add that to it. I don't do that. I just have the cabbage, and then I'm going to slice it a little bit more just so it's bite-sized pieces, and then I'm going to throw it in my bowl here. Now, all you need for this recipe is a head of cabbage and a tablespoon of salt. So I'm going to go ahead and put my tablespoon of salt in this little bowl. And as I go, I'll sprinkle a little bit of the salt on, and I will massage the cabbage. And so I'm just over here squeezing and massaging the cabbage as I go. So here I'm getting us started. And what that does, we're breaking the cell walls by cutting it, by massaging it. The salts help drawing some of the liquids out of it. Almost like pre-cooking. So you do want to make sure you have really clean hands, or you can wear gloves, whichever you prefer. Now, this is a little bit smaller and easier to manage. Let me see if I can do it. I may need to pull more leaves off. Yep, it's still a little, I have little hands, and so if I can just pull that off. Roll it a little bit again, and then thinly slice. Alright, put that in, sprinkle a little bit more salt, massage, okay, and one thing before I forget, leave one leaf out that is at least the size of your jar. So I can use half of this leaf. The other half I'm going to use at the end to tuck into the jar to hold everything under the liquid. So I want to make sure it's big enough. So put this somewhere where you won't cut it. So I'm going to set it over here on my plate. Now I'm going to continue slicing and massaging, and then I'll be back. Okay. That's it. That's all you have to do. I'll keep massaging it, and you'll see some liquids start forming in there, so that when we pack it into the jars, we want to make sure we have enough liquid to cover it. So it'll sit and develop the liquids. So I want to turn this into a kimchi. And so while I'm letting that sit, I'm going to go ahead and prep my ingredients for the kimchi. Alright, so I don't even know if I can legally call this kimchi, so maybe it's not. But I have leftovers from last night. Last night I had a sushi bowl, and I have leftover green onions and leftover carrots. And so I'm going to add those to it. I have some water on there from those leaves. So you can just thinly slice some carrots and some green onion to go in there. I'm going to show you how to just do the sauerkraut, and then I'll do this. I'm just letting you know I'm preparing my ingredients ahead of time. Something I like in there is you can use any spices or flavoring. You know, if you want it to be a functional food, then add some spices that you know help with whatever it is that you are looking for. I love to add garlic to everything. Garlic is antifungal, antimicrobial, and so I'm going to be adding a couple of cloves of garlic. This is a hard one to crush. All right, that's a huge clove. So I'm using 3 huge cloves. It's probably closer to 6 small cloves. You can see, that's a big clove. All right, so with garlic, we want those enzymes to form, so we smash them so that allicin will form. So cabbage is wonderful for regulating hormones. It has all sorts of different nutrients that help with detoxification, very high in sulfur, helping with different liver pathways. Garlic is also helpful for detoxification, but like I said, both of them are very anti-cancer. This one's very antibacterial. It's just this is definitely a superfood. Garlic is my favorite. So I'll definitely be adding that. Something else that I like to add is ginger. Ginger is very anti-inflammatory, and so I like to add ginger. Choose spices that you like. Now, I really do like ginger. You could use turmeric, really any spices. So I'm going to add at least a tablespoon of ginger. Now, this froze and thawed, so it's kind of difficult to grate here. It's better to grate it while it's still frozen. And I like it spicy, so I'm going to be adding some red pepper flakes, but I also have a jalapeno here. I am going to take the seeds out because while I do like it spicy, I don't want it that spicy. So when I cut a jalapeno, I cut lengthwise on the side there, and you can see I hit a little bit of those seeds, but if I keep cutting around like that, I'm not going to have as big of a mess of seeds to clean up. And I don't care if there's a few seeds in there. I just know those are really spicy. So I'm going to very thinly slice. You know what? I think I'm going to mince this so that someone doesn't end up with a whole slice of jalapeno when they eat this kimchi or sauerkraut. So our peppers are high in capsaicin and vitamin C. So we're adding a lot of vitamin C, which is a wonderful antioxidant. Also for the liver, detoxification, DNA repair, aids against oxidative stress in the body. So I'm just going to pile it up here with my ginger. And then another thing, so I have the onions, I have the carrots, I have the jalapeno, the ginger, and the garlic. I like purple cabbage. It gives it a beautiful color. It also is high in that same bacteria that is in the other cabbage. So I'm just going to cut off, not a lot, maybe a quarter of this purple cabbage. Purple cabbage raw can be kind of difficult for some people to handle on their stomach. And so if you shred it and ferment it, that can make it a lot easier. So I am using the food processor I could thinly slice it, but you could use the food processor for all of this. I don't know if I can get it on camera. Let me move this out of the way and slide this over. Can you kind of see? Maybe. And I will move this over to here. Put in the purple cabbage. I could put the whole thing in here. I could put all of our Napa cabbage, our carrots, our green onions. Don't know about the jalapeno. I mean, I could definitely put it in there, but it would probably burn my eyes. Put this in here. So this purple color means it's very high in anthocyanins, which are very anti-cancer, wonderful for your heart and circulation. So this is going to be a fabulously healthy food. Okay, so my ingredients are ready. Let's see if the cabbage is ready for the kraut. You can see when I wring it out, look how juicy that is. Wonderful. All right, let's let it sit for about 5 more minutes, and then we can make our sauerkraut. Okay, it is ready, so I'm just going to fill my jars. And what I've found is a small head of cabbage or a head of Napa cabbage is going to fill up a quart jar. So that just makes it perfect when you're making something like this. You just want 1 jar, 1 head of cabbage. All right, let me rinse my hand. I'm going to pour all of the liquid on top. I want it to be completely submerged in the liquid. And if you don't have enough, then you'll need to make a brine. But I know I'm going to have enough in a minute. If I had let it sit, more liquid would come out. And you can see when I push it down, it's completely submerged. The liquid, see the liquid on the top? Can you see it? Are my hands in the way? There's our liquid. And so then I put my leaf on top. Now, we're not finished. So what I would do, in this case, if all I want is sauerkraut, I would leave it, I'd put my leaf in to keep it submerged. I like to use these, is it called an airlock lids? That way it can breathe. It has a little tiny hole, and our sauerkraut will be made. And I also like to sit it inside of a pan like this or a bowl, because the liquid is going to, it may come out. It depends. It'll expand. You'll know it's working if it starts to bubble. So in a day or two, you should definitely see some bubbles in there. And so the liquid can come out into this bowl. Now, for today, I'm not making sauerkraut. This is what it would look like if it was just regular green cabbage. But I'm not making sauerkraut. I want to make a kimchi. So I'm going to take that leaf back out. I'm going to pour this back into my bowl. And I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. So I have my jalapeno, my garlic, and my ginger. I have my carrots and green onions. They are going to be fabulous in there. And then I have my purple cabbage, which is just going to make it a beautiful purple color. And add some wonderful bacteria. Isn't that a beautiful color? That vibrant purple. Okay, so I'm going to stir it all back in. Oh, I can't wait. So you can let it sit out on your counter for 5 to 7 days. I usually taste mine around day 3 to see if it tastes sour enough. If it has a colored film, toss it out. There was some bacteria. Maybe your jar wasn't quite clean. Something wasn't quite clean. But you should see some bubbles. It should be bubbling out. And I think I've only had 1 batch that came out wrong. And I've been making this for 20 years probably. Okay. Now, it doesn't look as pretty anymore, all the different colors, but that's okay. It's going to taste delicious and be so nutritious. Packed with probiotics, loads of vitamin C, lots of things to help with detoxification and liver repair, anti-cancer, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory. All right. And I like to use a ice cream scoop to pack it in. So I'm going to pack it in. Add some more. Look at the color of the liquid. It's all purple now. Pour that all in. Pack it some more. And now you can see the liquid's all sloshing out. So it's definitely plenty of liquid. In the directions, I will list what the proportions are for brine, the water, and salt. Because right off the top of my head while I'm doing the video, I can't think of it. There we go. Okay, some of the liquid sloshed out. And so before I put that metal lid on, I am going to wipe this just to keep it from corroding that metal ring. Okay, clean off my jar, put on my airlock lid, and now look at that. Look at those beautiful colors. Anyway, I will take a pic so you can see it at the end. I hope that you make this recipe. Please let me know what you include in your kimchi, or if you just make the plain sauerkraut. I want to know. Share pictures even. Comment, like, subscribe to my channel. I love to hear from you. Enjoy!